My manager saw my record deal and said, this is a record deal. I had to spend my own money auditing my label because millions of dollars are missing, and you could tell when millions of dollars are missing.
Of course.
I put at least $30 million in this man's pocket or more.
Right.
And he owes me money, and he's up billions.
Hey everyone, today we are going to be watching some of the worst deals that people have signed in the music industry. Hopefully this can help us learn from the mistakes of others so that we can avoid making these mistakes ourselves. We have a bunch of different deals to go through here, so be sure to stick around till the end. Also, I am not a financial advisor or music advisor. This is all for entertainment purposes only, so please do your own research. With that being said, let's get into it.
Artists don't get paid anyway. There's maybe 10 or 12 of them that have semi-decent deals, and the rest of them are, you know.
Like Mariah Carey just had this big $20 million. That's like a huge deal, right?
So you feeling that?
I mean, what am I missing?
Okay, let's do some math.
Okay.
If you signed me to a record company,
Right.
or a record deal, let's suppose you have a record company.
Right.
How much would you give me? The album sells for $18, right? $18?
Whatever, yeah.
All right. How much of that would you give me?
Half?
Half? Half sound good?
Yeah.
All right, check this out. If I sell 1 million copies, I'm going to have $10 million, right? Roughly $10 million.
Right.
If I sell 2 million copies, I got $20 million.
Right.
If I just sell 3 million copies, I got $30 million. Now who has the biggest record deal?
Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Okay.
Right?
Right.
So Mariah kind of got screwed.
People see these big advance numbers and think about, oh wow, the artist is making so much money, but fail to think about how much money the label is making off of those artists and off of those sales. Just because Mariah Carey is making $20 million, imagine how much her label is making.
Here's some of the worst record deals in the hip-hop industry, and listen, I don't wish this upon anyone because these guys got absolutely fleeced. Megan Thee Stallion is the first on this list for a reason. This woman made $7 million for 1501 Records, and not only that, but they only paid her $15K of that. She had to go as far as getting a restraining order because they were trying to hurt her with violence.
Okay, so this is the exact trap that we were talking about, but just on a smaller level. A lot of these labels will offer $10,000 or $15,000 as an advance to an artist, and they'll own that music and not pay the artist until it recoups. $15,000 sounds like a lot of money, but often these artists aren't thinking about how much money their music could actually potentially generate. So if you are a music artist watching this, please do not sign a deal for 10 or 15 grand unless it's a one single deal or maybe a distro deal with some sort of benefits. But otherwise, look to go independent, because if you're putting up the numbers for them to offer you 15 grand, they know that they're going to make a lot more than 15 grand off of you.
And I had a deal with Columbia Records. Basically had me, it was like, no, don't write those type of songs, write these type of songs. No, don't work with those producers, work with these producers. No, don't wear that, wear this. Like it was, they basically had me being who they wanted me to be. I'm listening to this music and I'm like, this ain't me, bro. Like, he's like, bro, it's not supposed to be you. It's smoke and mirrors. I'm like, nah, damn that smoke and mirrors. This ain't who I am. I don't want to do this. So they shelved me for like 2 years. I sat on Columbia Records. Couldn't do nothing, couldn't go nowhere. So like I went to them and asked if I could write a couple more songs that maybe made more sense with who I am. And they were like, well, no, your budget's depleted. My whole budget on just dinners, just flying to New York, eating dinner. And as soon as the bill comes, they throw out a credit card, right? I had no idea that my budget is on that credit card. So I just paid for that dinner. No clue that that money is mine. But oh no, don't worry about it, we got it.
He wanted to make one type of music, but the label wanted him to make another type of music. Even as an independent artist, it can sometimes be hard to balance your creativity and the music business. Because if you're working in the music industry, you have to understand that the music industry is a business. These labels and companies only care about if you are bringing in money. It's that simple. They don't care about what you think necessarily unless it is making them money and you are a profitable artist. The second thing was him talking about not knowing that the credit card was attached to his budget. Artists, it is so important that when you sign a deal or you sign to a label that you understand where the money is coming from and who's paying for what and how much you owe. And that's why you need to get a lawyer to review your contract. I'm going to say that again. You need to get a lawyer to review your contract if you are signing to a label. Please. These type of incurred expenses can add up and someone has to pay for them. Either the label or you yourself have to pay for that. It's not free. Nothing is free.
My manager saw my record deal and said, this is a record deal. I had to spend my own money auditing my label because millions of dollars are missing, and you could tell when millions of dollars are missing.
Of course.
I put at least $30 million in this man's pocket or more.
Right.
And he owes me money, and he's up billions.
Right.
Him or his company.
Right.
I sold over 50-some million records. I was one of the top-selling hip-hop artists between 2010 and 2020. I was in the top 10.
Right.
Sold over 50-some million records and earned a certain amount of money.
Right.
I worked my ass off, bro. I still haven't gotten this money, bro.
So a lot of you who are watching this already know that Big Sean is talking about being signed to Kanye West and Kanye West not paying him. And apparently he wasn't paid millions of dollars that he was owed. He brings up a certain idea that is super, super important, which is auditing your label. If you ever sign a contract with a label, make sure to have an audit clause or a transparency clause that gives you the right to audit your label and get a list of the expenses that the label has incurred, because there can be a lot of behind the scenes expenses that might not be accounted for. There also might be money that you are owed that you don't even know you are owed, which is kind of Big Sean's situation before he audited his own label. And it's really scary to think about because the labels are the official companies who are signing you, so they should be on top of this type of stuff. But in many circumstances, there are still payouts or royalties that companies signing you are supposed to be paying you, and you expect that they're playing by the rules, but they may not be. So the takeaways from this video are A, review your contract, and B, audit your label so that you know what money you are owed.
Yeah, it's like I signed like a 360 deal. I didn't know what I was signing, bro. I was young and I wanted some money. To be honest, I didn't even read over what I signed. I just listened to the A&R. I was taking bro's word, and I'm at where I'm at now. I couldn't really tell you too much about it because I really don't know. But one thing I do know is my music checks is like slowing down, bro. And some of the songs been going up. Like last year when I had that little run when I was doing whatever, the songs were going up, skyrocketing. I really didn't get paid nothing for that. But if I was to give any of y'all some advice, I would say don't sign unless you're straight popping and you got some solid people by you for real that actually want to see you win.
So shout out to Young Smiley. I remember he had that song trending on TikTok a few years back. But anyways, it's really hard to hear about a situation like this that could have just been easily avoided. He literally says in the video, I didn't even read the contract, which is obviously not a good plan when you're signing to a label or a distributor or pretty much signing anything. You always should read the contract. That's like the first thing you should do. So if you're signing to a record label, have your contract reviewed by a lawyer. Please, even though it might be a little bit of a cost up front, it will be so worth it to know if this is a good deal for you and what you are actually signing, because the terminology is confusing and some of those record deals are dozens of pages long. They are long.
One of my artists just got offered one of the worst record deals that I've seen in a long time. Let's talk about it. One of my artists just got an email and said, hey, we want to do a record deal with you. We're going to give you $100,000 in advance. What do you think? And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I got to send this to a lawyer because he's going to laugh. I'm laughing. And the artist wasn't laughing, but I explained it to him and then he was laughing after that. Let's talk about it. If you've watched my other videos by now, you know that I've said many times that record labels do not care about you and they are just greedy. They are greedy and they want to steal your rights. So let me show you the email. Okay, so I have blacked out who the record label is, but they're interested in doing a new recording deal with my artist for the following. The songs must be as close as possible replicas of the original masters. Now, my artist has already had hits, and so they wanted him to re-record his other hits from 50 years ago. I don't think they understand that he's, I don't know, in his 70s now and he's not 20, 25 when he recorded them, but whatever. Anyway, they said they'd also like for you to record one classic Christmas song of your choice. They want this version to sound like you, not an exact cover, whichever song you choose. They'd also like you to deliver the finished, fully mixed recording, and I blacked it out. They wanted my artist to master all of the tracks. But then, look what they say. The master, the new track, and re-record will be released and owned by the record company. So the record company wants him to do all the work, master it, pay for it, and then they own it? That's greedy. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's continue here. The territory is world, meaning everywhere. Then the term right here is perpetuity, which means forever. Now, let's talk about the advance, okay? That advance, $100,000, seems great, but it is not $100,000 plus the cost of recording. That is up to my artist, meaning that my artist has to pay almost $50,000 to have all 13 songs recorded, or even 12 songs plus a Christmas song recorded like the originals. And we call the producer, we call the session players. Producers, like, I'll do it for 30, 35K, and the session players are about an extra 20K. So literally, my artist will get $50,000 after that. He's in a really high tax bracket, meaning he's only going to get anywhere from 20 to 25K for all of that work. For what? That is not a great deal. Let's continue. Okay, next we're moving on to royalty. 18% of wholesale list price for physical ringtone streaming and 25% for digital. The rights requested all rights, every single right to include a physical digital sync ringtone streaming. Also 50-50 split for any film, TV, advertising, placement, sync deals, a total of 13 tracks. The more and more we read that email, we were like, they must be playing or something. They literally want our artists to go through all that trouble to record 13 tracks so they can own everything, even though they're not mixing, they're not mastering, they're not even really paying for it. My artist is making, what, 25K for all of that work?
So this is a really good in-depth breakdown of how many expenses there can be as an artist. Many of you, as I did, saw the 100K advance and thought, it might be an okay deal, even for 13 songs. Like, how hard can it be to make a song? But clearly these people are professionals and they know everything about how much it will cost.
Deal. This is where they you. Young artists, please listen. I am giving away game. I could charge for this. Right? So like, yo, here's $500,000. Go cut your record. But we're going to do and we'll promote it, market it on the label side. We'll do everything for you. All you got to do is turn in the record. We'll pay for the videos. We'll pay for everything. But on the side of it, we're going to do and this is a generous deal now. We're going to do an 80-20. 70-30, me get 70, y'all get 30. Okay. Sure. For me financing the record. And we're going to recoup the $1 million or $500,000 at the rate of the deal. Let's say $1 million because it's easy math. And at the rate of the deal, this is where they you. Young artists, please listen. I am giving away game. I could charge for this. This is where they you. They charge at the rate of the deal. Mm-hmm. So that means that every dollar that's made, I'm going to take my 70 cents out of it. And then I'm going to apply your 30 cents towards the $1 million you owe me.
Right. And
you see what I'm saying?
Once that's paid off, you start getting
Then
paid.
Once that's paid off, you start getting your 30 cents. Now think about that for a second as far as just us as grown men. Like a bank loan or like a homie loan, right? Like just your homie gives you $100,000 and go, man, I don't know. Give me 120 back if you can do it in 3 months.
Yeah.
We're talking about somebody making $700,000 and their $1 million back before you participate in any of the money.
The whole project costed $1 million. Like they take out their $700,000, then your $300,000 starts to pay for the rest of the expenses.
Exactly.
And then whenever it gets
whenever you get to even, $1 million, right? Whenever your 30% pays the $1 million off, then we go into a 70-30. But where the label's you is, it's an unlimited line of credit when you're doing well. So young artists don't realize what's happening. Right? So they're just like, hey, man, I want to shoot a video and have a helicopter and jump out of it like James Bond and blow a car up. The label's like, no problem. It only costs $250,000. Here's $250,000 more. Mm-hmm. Then these artists start to get in a situation where they're never getting royalties on their records. Now, the label owns the masters of the record. Now, the masters is the right to sync something, to put it on a TV show. Mm-hmm. The masters is the right to where it lives and doesn't live, to break it down in a beat format, to whatever they want to do with the master recording, right? Artist doesn't own the master. He's only participating in the royalties of the album. Mm-hmm. When I say 70-30, that's a strong deal. It's a lot of artists on Music Row right now with 95.5s.
95.
Bro.
Dude.
Right?
So you don't make nothing.
Man, I don't really know that much about this Jelly Roll guy, but he is giving out a lot of game to artists. This is a great breakdown of how some of these deals are structured, because a lot of people will see $1 million advance and think, well, I just got to make my $1 million back and then I'll get my royalties. But no, often you need to generate way more than $1 million because you're only recouping out of your percentage of the deal. So as long as you're a profitable artist, the label wins. And even if you somehow recoup your entire advance, you're still going to only get your 20 or 30% once you get to your royalties. So think again before taking a big advance, because you could end up owing a lot more than you think.
When a label comes to sign you, you're usually really popping. You're popping enough that people are looking at you, probably starting to kind of pay you for things. They get you at that point. Usually artists sign for 4 to 5 albums. And to get out of the situation and still be relevant enough to go independent, you're never going to have it. So all your best songs made during that period of time. So all that money just went straight to a label.
4 to 5 albums is a long time. If you make music, you know how long it can take to even make one album. So imagine 4 to 5 albums. Some major superstar artists don't even have 5 albums. Like I think Playboi Carti, for example, only has like 4 albums released in his whole career. So imagine signing a deal for 4 to 5 albums. You're locking in basically your whole career. You might not even get to that 5 albums. Even a 1 album deal could chop you for years. So 4 to 5 could be a career death sentence.
The money that you get in the deal They'll be like, oh, I got $1 million on a deal. Okay. You have to pay that money back from selling your music. And that $1 million that they give you is typically meant to be spent on making the album, developing the artist. So that goes into studio time. Then there's like separate budgets, sometimes music video budgets, but like it's all built into this lump sum, right? That sounds glamorous. But really, most artists are spending most of their career, using most of their career to pay back the label. And honestly, the trade-off is the label puts your music out for the world to hear. It's a distributor.
This is a great way to explain how a lot of these deals work. And it's also a reminder that you as the artist don't always get to decide how your advance is spent. Often there'll be different ways that the label will want you to spend the money. And also near the end, she does reiterate the benefit of having a label and having their resources and guidance. And that's kind of the trade-off. And it ultimately is in the best interest of the label for you to pay back the money that you owe them. But the deal is obviously structured so that once you do recoup that money, you will just keep making money for them.
That's why we want to sign you. We're a major label, and you've gained our attention by building an audience, creating a lot of buzz, and even one of your songs has gone viral. Oh wow, this is the moment that every musician dreams of. A major label wants to sign me? How much are you offering? $2 million. $2 million? I can't even conceptualize having that much money at once. Well, you won't be getting all of that money up front at once. You'll be getting paid out over time for every album you complete after you complete it. How many albums will I have to complete in my contract? 6. 6 albums, that's a lot, but one album every 2 years, that comes out to be about $100,000 to $200,000 a year, plus album sales and streaming money. That's a livable wage. Well, you won't be getting any money from album sales or streams. What? Yeah, we will own the masters to your music, and that $2 million isn't a salary, it's an advance, so that'll just go into the budget of all your records and then be considered recoupable funds. So I'll use that money to make the albums and live off of? Correct. And then I'll have to pay it back with album sales? That's correct. So it's kind of just like a loan? Yeah, that's correct. But I'm already building my audience, creating buzz, and going viral without a label.
Yeah, so those advances sound good until you really do the math. 6 albums? Like we talked about before, some major artists haven't even made 6 albums, let alone 5 albums, let alone 4 albums in their entire career. So signing a deal this long is extremely risky because it's based on output, but you actually have to have the permission of the label in order to even release those albums. And you've probably heard those label horror stories where an artist makes an entire album, gives it to their label, and then their label says, you can't drop this, we don't want to drop this. And then the artist has to scrap their album or just gets shelved. And then the worst part about that is then the artist isn't able to fulfill their contractual obligation for the album because the label won't let them release the album. It's just a lot.
If a record label sees you as an artist, get to a point where you make $300,000, okay, we'll give you a $2 million record deal, but this $2 million record deal just ate up the next $14 million that you make over the next 7 years.
You have to pay all that back, essentially?
Yes, it's a huge loan. But let's say you get a $3 million deal. 1.5 of that is an advance, 1.5 is for marketing. 1.5 that they give to you to go in your pocket, you got your lawyer expenses, all the expenses of whatever you had to get that deal accomplished. Then now you get your money.
Yeah.
That money is for you to live off of and manage and stretch out until you recoup whatever the amount of money that you rack up from the record label investing into you. And it's another 1.5, which is their ceiling where they know we're not gonna go over this budget. 9 times out of 10, when you start using the record label services, you're gonna exceed that record label budget by far. You already signed within the $3 million amount, so you might do half of that deal. You drop 2 of the albums, they're doing kind of well. We could project the numbers and see it's gonna kind of come back, but it might not come back. But we'll give you another advance right now, but we still adding on another marketing advance. So therefore, you get another $500,000, another $300,000. That's another $1 million that you owe back.
That's a crazy business.
Yeah, so that's how they get you. They'll keep adding money onto your advance and then you just owe them more money back. And just because you have an agreed upon budget in the contract doesn't mean that the label or you won't incur more expenses over that amount. And that just ends up being more money that you owe to the label. So you may have gotten a $1.5 million advance, but you still have to recoup for the marketing budget and anything else on top of that.
Artists always, for some reason, give up ownership of their masters because they want that check, but they don't understand that they're never going to recoup. The bigger the check you take, the more in debt you are with the record company. So a lot of artists, they'll tell you they want to be independent. They'll tell you they want to be entrepreneurs. They'll they'll tell you they're smart, but they're really not. Most artists are just very quick to take the money off the table, and they'll sell their rights and they'll settle for a royalty.
Yeah.
But if I'm advising you, I would tell you to never sell your rights. I would tell you to stay independent as long as you can, so you could basically write the terms you want and pretty much write your own deal.
This is a great video to end on, and the point that he's making is the larger your advance equals the more money that you owe to the label. Building your own career up independently gives you more leverage and experience, and once you get enough leverage, you can sign an even better deal if you want to. So that'll be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also leave a comment below with what your thoughts are on these deals, or if you have any other personal experience or any questions that you have for me as an artist as well. I'm always here. I want to be able to support you guys and educate. That's the goal of these videos, is to educate. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.